By the time of Princess Diana's death, that as I watched on TV, I watched a crime scene being destroyed, not preserved. And that shocked me, that if the French police would allow such inept attention to this incredibly important crime scene. They just swept it up, brought in the hoses, dumped the Mercedes on the back of a truck and bounced it through the streets of Paris until it disappeared into the dark. This is the single reason why here we are 22 years later trying to unravel the death of the most popular woman in the world. So I booked a ticket and headed for Paris. When I got to the scene I noticed there was no traditional crime scene tape, but the interesting thing was I discovered skid marks as the road approaches the tunnel, and these 2 7.5 metre long skid marks. My crime scene assessment told me very clearly there could only be 2 cars to make all these marks. A few months later, there was a general announcement from the French police that there was 2 cars involved. There was a white Fiat Uno. All sorts of notices went out to all registered white Fiat Unos to present their cars to a police station. A man presented his car to a police station in Paris and showed the papers, and the police went out to inspect it. It wasn't white. It had been resprayed bright red. And they discovered it had been resprayed just after the accident. And the spray job was sloppy at best. And it's the worst paint job you've ever seen. The driver admitted in a signed statement to police that he replaced his rear rubber bumpers. And if you look at the wall on the roadway leading into the tunnel, black rubber bumper residue at that point. He's never outwardly admitted to being in the tunnel that night. But there's one thing I do know. In my belief, the driver of the white Fiat Uno was completely and utterly innocent to all of this. We've got a man out of control driving a black Mercedes-Benz full of drugs and full of alcohol. The Fiat Uno is completely innocent at that point where they touch. What happens after is open to opinion as to why he didn't stop and render assistance. In the end, there was no disclosure from the police department that Lee Van Tan was the driver. Who is Lee Van Tan?
You believe that the police botched this investigation. What made you think that to begin with?
I turned the TV on, like many people in the audience, and saw this horror show unfold. And I'm expecting to see a crime scene, a textbook crime scene, because she was the most popular woman in the world. What I saw was a disaster. And I thought, this is what you lecture detectives what not to do.
And how fast do you think the car was going when it hit the bridge abutment?
It was just over 100 miles an hour.
And being 3 times over the limit and going 100 miles an hour, that makes it a crime scene, because now you're talking about negligent homicide, vehicular manslaughter. There's all kinds of things that they would have to consider that would cause them to want to protect this crime scene, no matter who the victim was. You sketched a diagram that you say depicts what happened.
The blue one is the white Fiat Uno.
Okay.
You can see on the left there's a tunnel. Obviously he's going to go into that tunnel, but of course as he comes onto the busy roadway, along the road comes at 105, 106 miles per hour, this hurtling Mercedes driven by a drunken Henri Paul carrying Lady Diana. He's come up to that merge lane and obviously saw and must have glimpsed the white Fiat, hit the skids, 7+ yards long, and at that point they've kissed both cars. Both cars have gone in different directions, and one's taken off, and the Fiat Uno has staggered through the tunnel and come out the other end. But of course, the Mercedes-Benz with Diana did not.
It's the 13th pillar.
Yes.